comics do routines on airplanes, and they talk about fear and stuff like that, see. But none of them ever really come to the point, you see. And the point is this: I do not hold in what's on my mind. See, I speak up. As soon as my foot hits the plane, I speak out. Hope the plane don't crash! Yes, sir. I speak right out. Sure, it shakes up a lot of people. But they're angry because they didn't say it. I got on one plane, I said, hope the plane don't crash. People said, hear, hear. And it was the pilot. I'm telling you right now, a lot of you get drunk, you just, and then you say, we landed, always safe again, sober right up. Okay, good enough. And I'll tell you something else. I want to know when the plane is going down. I don't want any stewardess walking by saying, oh, no smoking, just for fun. No, sir. I want to prepare myself for that crash. Guy, the worst thing in the world to do is die while you're reading Life magazine.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me again, as per usual. And I'm sorry, that's probably the second time I said that, because I know there's usually an introductory track. Anyway, this week I have with me Matt Buchholtz. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah.
Let's point this towards you just in case.
Oh,
it sounds fine, but this is loose now. Oh, that's fun. Hey, everybody. I hope you like the sound of that shit, because there we go. Okay, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
Let's just hope
sounds good?
Yeah, it sounds, well, let's see. Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
How's it sound to everybody at home? Really? Good, thank you. Okay. All right. So, you wanted to talk about an album, and I say this a lot, that I've never heard before. I probably should have, considering it's the origin of Fat Albert, etc., but it's Bill Cosby Revenge.
Yeah.
I loved it. I wanted to listen to it more. It doesn't always happen. Why is this one so important to you?
This one, for me, like, growing up when I was a kid, I grew up in a small farming town of like 500 people.
Shit. Yeah.
So it was an hour to the nearest city.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much to do, and I listened to my dad's records a lot. So I got a lot of Styx, a lot of Journey.
Yeah.
And also a lot of Bill Cosby, which was kind of interesting considering he was middle of rural Washington.
Right.
But Revenge was like one of the ones that I listened to over and over and over again on my dad's record player, like growing up. Mm-hmm. And then upon moving to California, I got all of my dad's records as kind of a moving out gift.
Awesome.
And so it's maintained its spot on my playlist throughout the years.
Yeah.
But it's just such a solid album as far as comedy goes. And I feel like a lot of my comedy comes from listening to Bill Cosby's work, like the pacing.
Yeah.
And just his overall storytelling method is so great. Like, I don't think there's anyone that compares to how he just relates a tale.
Seriously. Let's talk about what you do, comedy-wise. Let's talk about, like, you do sketch, you work at Groundlings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I write sketch comedy for boxseats.tv. I've taken a couple classes in sketch. I work at the Groundlings. I do a lot of their graphic design work there. Awesome. But you got to be surrounded by that whole comedy environment. And then I'm part of a podcast called Crit Juice, which is Dungeons and Dragons with a bunch of comedians and actors as a drinking game.
That's awesome.
So
that's so good.
Get a nice little mix of my comedy where I can get it.
Right. I mean, and that's that. I mean, that podcast, I apologize again, I haven't heard it yet, but I will listen to it. I love the idea that, because D&D is very much, it's good for you if you're an improv guy.
It's amazing. It's all character-based. Mm-hmm. You come up with this point of view from a character, and you just get to run with it. Like, we've got everything from this guy who's like half dragon, and he talks like Dirty Harry, to a guy who is a rabbit man who just is all about eating and like sleeping with women.
Holy shit!
It just spans it all the way across whatever character you could come up with.
That's so good. And you play for what you said, 6 hours?
We play for 6 hours at a time, so that you get that full arc of like, we started drinking, we're drunk, we are way too drunk.
Holy shit! That's so good. I love it. I'm curious then, like you said, I grew up in a rural area too, about the same amount of people, so it was like rare that you get to listen to anything different. Mm-hmm. Was it all Bill Cosby that he had sitting in his collection, or do you have any more comedy?
As far as comedy goes, it was almost only Bill Cosby, and it was like Bill Cosby Revenge. Bill Cosby is a funny guy, right?
Yeah.
And Bill Cosby is the kids one. I forget what that one is
shit.
called. But Bill Cosby and His Children. When I Was a Kid.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Which were great ones. And then somehow I have a mix of like other Bill Cosby bits that I don't even know what album I got those from because they're not part of my dad's collection. But like the track and field high jump bit, which is probably my favorite Bill Cosby piece, is on no records that I own.
Oh, okay.
But it's always one of those ones I always think is on Revenge or on one of the ones I own. But I don't have it except for digitally.
Right. It was kind of cool listening to this. So let me grab it because the track. Okay, let's see. Is it going to be obviously named for me? Maybe. Let's see. Well, actually, you know what? While I'm trying to find it, you tell me your favorite track, and we'll talk about that
My favorite track
first.
on this one, like I love 9th Street Bridge, which is great. It's just about Weird Harold and Bill as kids trying to watch scary movies in a theater, and just it's a constant one-uppance of how can we. Who's going to see the monster first? And eventually getting stranded until 10 p.m. and their mom's not going to pick them up, so they have to go home. And just like, the monsters are out. It's 10 o'clock at night. And the way that Bill Cosby tells it, he's just like, it's 10 p.m. The monsters are out. It was just such a fact of reality. The way that he says it, it's such a fact of reality when you're a kid that like you're just right there with him. You remember those times when you're like, oh God, like this is horrible. Like we're not gonna make it home.
Right.
And you're just cursing your mother, like, why did you let us do this? Like, don't you love us? Like,
but the way he paints childhood relationships is like so much richer than most people know how to do.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Is there anything like in his? I actually now remember the track, the whole track about the snowball.
Oh, Revenge.
Yeah, it is Revenge, right? The title track. Thank you, Jesus Christ. To be fair, today's the first day I ever listened to it. That's no fucking excuse. Anyway, but like the pacing of that is so good because it's very slow and deliberate, and it's very like, here's a beat, here's a beat, here's a beat, wait for it, here's a punch.
Yeah.
And until he gets to the very end where he's talking about the final bit where he's like, I go into the house, I'm gonna get the snowball, I open up the fridge, and my mom had thrown it out. Like, he doesn't even take his time, because that's the way a kid's brain is. It's like, oh shit, everything's over, my mom threw it out. So I went out there and I spit in his face. Like, it's just like, I love that it builds and builds to just this whole rapid fire, oh, screw it. Like, everything's over now. I'm just gonna be as desperate as I possibly can.
Yeah.
It so reflects what it's like to be a kid, and I don't know why nobody else can do it as well,
And like you said, that pacing is so essential because you get that methodical, just like, I waited. I put this, for listeners, he gets hit with a slush ball, which you're not supposed to hit a kid with.
Right.
And so he decides to swear vengeance on Junior Barnes, and he can't find him that day, and he has to go home before the monsters come out. And so he takes the snowball in and puts it in the freezer with him. And then the way that he paces it is, I put it in the fridge, and I waited till July 12th, my birthday. And it's just so slow. And every beat, you can just hear the audience just right there with him. He waited, laugh. July 12th, oh, even funnier. My birthday, oh, that's it.
Yep. So good. And he has such a sense of the childhood brain, and I know you hear it in other people, like, Eddie Murphy does a lot of stuff about being a kid, but it's a lot more about being a poor kid, whereas Bill Cosby's was just so much, it's a lot richer. It's not coming from as much pain. At least it doesn't feel like it. Like childish pain, like you said, thinking there were monsters out there, but dealing with fairly seemed like pretty good parents, like he grew up in a nice way. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just listening.
As far as, let's talk a little bit then about, you said the pacing has influenced you. Is there anything, do you ever write from a similar perspective? Do you ever write anything like from that kind of childhood perspective?
I always try to, and it never comes out as well as one would like.
Sure.
Bill Cosby spent so much time prior to this. This is his 5th album?
I think so.
I think so. And it's the first one where he really goes into that childhood point of view. All his prior ones are kind of bits off of, just pure stand-up, like, Noah said this, and God said this, and a little bit more jokey, and this is a little bit more storytelling.
Yeah.
And so I think it took him until this point to really hit that stride, and it works. Like, he nails it on this album. And for me, like, when I write, I try and, use this voice, but as timeless as it is for Bill Cosby, I don't think it's something that I can bring out.
Yeah.
My stories would be like, I was on the farm.
Right.
The pigs were here. And you try so hard to have that same tone and that same, great storytelling. And I think for me, Bill Cosby hits an extra point because his pacing is almost the same as my grandfather's pacing.
Okay.
So I get all these war stories that are the exact same.
So interesting.
The exact same jokes, but done in a different way.
That's hilarious.
From a poor guy in Mississippi, growing up. Yeah, and there we were rolling the tires down a hill with Harold,
That's so funny.
And it's the same sort of, these classic American times
Sure.
that, just don't really exist anymore.
That's true, yeah.
So I don't know if you can duplicate that or go with that, as much as I'm influenced by it.
I took that snowball home and I put it in the freezer. And I waited. July. July 12th. My birthday. It was 104 degrees in the shade. Not a snowball in sight. Junior Barnes was sitting on the steps in front of my house. I was standing there with him. I had gone to great lengths to prove to Junior Barnes that I was his greatest friend. Let him drink out of my orange soda bottle without even wiping it off.
Do you, as far as maybe the feel of his comedy, it's an incredibly general thing to say, but just the way his comedy makes you feel, do you shoot for that kind of thing, or is there somebody else more biting satire that, comes out when you write?
Oh, I definitely try to go for the Bill Cosby style because it's not only, smart comedy, it's also, all-inclusive.
Sure.
There's not a single person who can listen to this album of any age and not relate.
Yeah.
I mean, which is what everyone tries to do. You want to have as big of an audience as possible. And in his work, it's, 99% of it's clean.
Sure.
So there's not a store that won't carry it, not a
Right.
family that won't let you listen to it. You're going to be laughing at it as an adult remembering your childhood, or
Sure.
as a kid being like, oh yeah, this is exactly how this goes.
Yeah.
And so I think I really try for that because even when you look at just the beats, like we were talking about earlier, he's got, here's the bit, here's this other bit, building up, and then he has a punchline, and you're like, oh, that's it, and then he has one more, and he always gets you with it, Buck is 10 minutes long because you think it's two whole stories,
Right.
and it ends half of it with, I told you this story so I can tell you the next.
Yep. So good.
And it just kills because you're like, you've just invested in this whole story of, introducing Fat Albert and it's so great, and here's this and here's this bit, and you're just cracking up, and right when the biggest punchline is supposed to happen, he just kills it off. Well, I told you that story so I could do this next one. And
It's so good.
yeah, you just think listen to 5 minutes for whatever's coming up next. That was great. This next thing better be good.
Yeah, right.
And he follows it up with something that ties together a whole other sketch he did.
It's amazing. It's so good. Do you do you remember the first time you listened to this?
Oh god, I must have been 9 or 10, just up in what we later fixed up our attic to be my room, but it was just my dad's stereo room. There's a milk crate of vinyl, the headphones with the 1/4-inch curly cord, and
Of course.
just being so nervous that I'd scratched the record at the time. But I mean, I can remember this. I would listen to just nonstop, over and over, and memorizing just the bits.
That's so good.
The track and field one I mentioned earlier. I could do that word for word at a certain
awesome.
point when I was in junior high. And, it was all about that repetition of like, oh, if I can learn this, I can do whatever I want.
Of course.
And still, even now, that track and field one has a bit where he says he has to jump over a high jump, and he clears something that I never thought he could. He was just trying to lose, and he clears it, and he does this whole bit where he's like, and I went up, and I thought, this is great, I made it, kick now, I must kick, but I've never been up this high before, so I kick, and I landed it, poof, and I get up, cool as can be. And on the inside, I'm going, woo, I made it! And like that's such a reality. Like whenever you do something and you're like, this isn't gonna work, and it does, and you're in public, you have to, you always are like, yeah, that's exactly what I meant to do.
Right.
But on the inside, you've got that voice just screaming.
Not entirely separate from how it feels to do good improv when you finally nail it.
Oh yeah, and you've got to have that face that's just stone face, like that's what you paid for.
Yep.
This is what I meant to do.
I was in the scene the whole time. It's just how it goes. Yeah, and that actually, I'm glad you actually just expanded on the whole repetition thing. I mean, I had the same sort of impulse as a kid to memorize shit that meant a lot to me. Mm-hmm. Like we have that undying patience as a kid for something that's like, we don't get tired of shit that easy. That's why one of the many reasons we can just eat candy all day. It's kind of the same thing. You kind of learn the stuff that. Is there anything now? Or do you not have the time as an adult that you think that you sat and listened to or sat and watched a lot even?
Yeah, I don't even think I can anymore.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it's being an adult or not having time or whether it's, I can blame it on AOL Instant Messenger, shorting our memories and cell phones storing phone numbers, but there just isn't that need to memorize something now. When I was memorizing that bit as a kid, it was just listening to that track over and over and writing it down on notebook paper as it was said so that I could have a copy. And, now I could probably Google search, Bill Cosby track and field dial.
Right.
And it would be there. So I don't think that there's anything now where I don't subconsciously know that there's, a way for me to get it instantly.
Sure. Did you ever did your dad introduce you to these albums, or did you just find them and you decided to listen to it yourself?
They were I just found them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was one of those things where I'd kind of go through a different album when I'd go up there, and I'd have my favorites. There was Fleetwood Mac Rumors that I got listened to a lot.
That's awesome.
Boston, all of the Styx albums, Man of Magic, Equinox, whatever had something that looked like an epic cover would be listened to.
That's good.
A lot of Beach Boys, and I think there was one Exercise album that I put on once, and I was like, what is this?
Awesome. That's a thing you don't hear or see anymore.
No, and it was such a surprise as a child. Like, this isn't music or comedy. What's happening?
How early did you know that comedy was a thing you wanted to do? I mean, you're clearly sitting there writing this down for a reason. Did you know the purpose at that point?
I don't think I had any idea until much later in life that comedy would play as big of a part as it has now in my life. Growing up, I wanted to be a paleontologist until I was nearly through high school.
Holy shit.
And then someone told me that I'd have to do grant raising my entire life.
Yeah.
And that didn't really spark my interest. I'd seen Jurassic Park. I thought that's what it was.
Of course.
All of us were very naive and thinking dinosaurs would be brought back anytime soon.
I'm still, fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, unless science has anything to do with it and half-life of DNA. But, I wanted to do that for a very long time, and I can still probably name every dinosaur I've seen in a store.
Awesome.
I still get very upset when people say Brontosaurus. That was debunked in 90. And then after that, I wanted to go into video game design. And so there's a little bit of writing that started making its way into my life at that point, because you'd have to write scripts for your games.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of computer science. And then it wasn't until midway through college that I started looking at I want to do cinema, and I want to write stuff, and I want to make these shorts, and I want to start going into that. And it was never a thing for me where I could write drama, and it would always come out very horrible, like very self-serving.
Sure.
Like, this is my life,
Right, yeah.
and no one wants to see that, and it wasn't ever good,
Right. I can relate.
The comedy was such a better way for me to express myself and a better way to share, and I just love being able to make people laugh. Like,
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest goods you can do in life.
Of course.
And so being able to do that is kind of where I started aiming towards.
Do you think you had that seed of sitting there, like, repetitively listening to the same thing? Do you think that seed was in your brain somewhere?
It probably was, because like I said, between that and like my grandpa just going on and on about his stories, I mean, every time I called my grandpa growing up, like once I moved out to LA, I'd give him a call like once a week, and I'd always get like the same line from Leno, which is a horrible thing to have to hear. But it's always the exact same like one-liner from Leno.
Oh
like,
my God!
Yeah, it was a Father's Day bit where someone called home and would say, you know, hey Dad, hey son, how are you doing? Good, Ian. All right, well here's your mom, and he would say that bit every single time. It would be like, well here's your grandma, and so,
God.
and it became just kind of a thing where I knew it was coming, and he never knew he was doing it again. But
That's so funny though.
I think through that, just the way of comedy as a way of relating to people just kind of got ingrained to me through that.
Okay.
And through my family in general.
Was your dad and your mother, were they funny people too, or is it?
My dad can be very funny, but he has a way of reserving that. He's very quiet.
Okay.
Whereas my mom does 90% of the talking that happens in the household.
Okay.
Even when my sister and I are home, she still holds 90% of
funny.
that. And she's very funny and very caring, and very interested in everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think that comedy was a huge part, but definitely like that positive outlook and the optimism that comes kind of hand in hand with comedy was very encouraged in our household. So.
That's awesome. That's good. Do you let's go through. Are there any other tracks that stick out to you that like you absolutely love?
Oh man,
I don't want to keep this from you. You should be able to look
so many of these are great. Revenge is amazing.
Yeah.
We talked about
you
that.
You mean the
earlier.
one, the name of which I couldn't remember a few minutes ago? I'm sorry, I'm just going to hammer that nail in.
My name is Erica, and I love you both. Now, I said to my wife, look, this is great, you know, like we got to have another one right away, you know, before we lose whatever we have going for us, you know. So we did. Now, this second one, Beelzebub. First of all, she come out of the shoot a month early. Champagne in one hand, a cigarette in the other. All right, who's in charge here? You, the ugly guy, what are you doing here? I'm your father. Get rid of him, Momsy. Time you been getting up in the morning? Oh, 8:30. Why, would you believe 3:30? For no particular reason. And this is the way I cry. How's that shake up your spinal cord?
Two Daughters is very fun.
Yeah.
It's one of
so good. Those voices. I love his voices.
It makes me wish that I could see this live,
Yes.
because there's so many times in Two Daughters where the crowd is just uproarious,
yes.
and you don't know what he did to her.
Yeah, because there's a couple really long silent bits where I'm like, fuck, I'm missing something here.
Yeah, he just goes through what it is to be a father, and how I think everyone's had at least a younger sibling or knows someone who's had a kid or a younger sibling where there's a trick that the kid has learned.
Yep.
And he talks about that in that one. It's so funny. Just trying to get his mom to hear the kids say hello. The Tank, I think my sister did The Tank as a speech spelling math monologue.
Oh my God.
About him flushing a woolen topcoat down the toilet.
It's funny how people use really great bits like this in life. I had, and I don't know if you've ever had anything remotely similar to this, it's a weird thing. In high school, I listened to a lot of comedy, but my parents didn't have any Bill Cosby albums. I had a math teacher, and Ron Perry, if you're listening, I hope you are. You're a son of a gun for doing this. He would tell us stories, first person, as though they were his. I had no idea Chicken Heart was anybody else's. But, like, he literally would tell us that shit as though they were his own stories. And it's funny, like, people can use that stuff, and if you pick up on the way it's told and why it's being told that way, some people can do it justice, and apparently he did.
And smoking has one of my favorite bits because it's such a reality when you deal with kids. It's about him going into the bathroom in school as a child, and everyone's trying to smoke one of their dad's cigarettes, and they're breathing it in and just seeing how long they can hold it. And he does this piece where the principal walks in right as he takes a breath, and he has to hold it, and the whole audience is just dying as Bill Cosby's on stage holding his breath. And then Bill Cosby also does amazing mic work, like the sounds that he can make. It just does this like, the air coming out with all the smoke. He goes, "That's not mine. I don't know who did that." Just the voice of it is so funny because every kid does something where they're blatantly caught. And then instantly denies it. Like there's no other way it could be someone else. Whether it's like a kid with chocolate all over their face, I didn't eat this, or like, marker all over the walls and on their hands. But that's one of those bits that just kills me.
Is it? Do you get a chance to listen to anything like this ever? Still, do you take an opportunity to, or
whenever I can, I have. Every time we go to a record store, my girlfriend and I will go through the comedy albums and try and pick up stuff, whether I've heard it or haven't. I'm always trying to hear like older stuff and kind of find where comedy has come from in the past, because everything builds off of itself.
It's a great way to research it.
And I just read Born Standing Up, Steve Martin's book, which is incredible, and you hear about all the people that he went up with, and so you're constantly looking for their albums to learn what he did so well.
Right. Have you ever tried stand-up? Is that something you've...
I have not. I have no idea if I could, but it'd be something interesting to try for sure.
For sure. Do you ever notice? Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Do you ever notice, like, we talked about the writing end of it, but performing wise, is there any like voice work or even the manner? Because I mean, any good acting and improv is good storytelling, and you have to be a storyteller on your own, even if you're interacting. Do you know what your influences are as far as that? Because it doesn't have to be Bill Cosby.
As far as acting,
as far as acting and that kind of.
A lot of like, since I did get into comedy as like a work idea late, like I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know if I was ever attentive to who my influences were with that. I've definitely taken a lot of influence from people I work with now, which is, there's an amazing group at Groundlings called the Crazy Uncle Joe Show. And they've been going for 11 years.
Shit.
And they're the longest running long form improv show in Los Angeles. And it's just this group that's made a whole show up, and they do it on the spot every single time. They get 3 suggestions and go for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
And so seeing the stuff that they do gives me kind of inspiration on like, oh, well, they did this sort of space work, or like, oh, this guy, whenever he plays a smart person, whenever, he pushes up fake glasses. And it like adds so much to your character, and you wouldn't think about that. Or like, oh, he brushes his hair back, and it shows you how long of hair that character has.
Right.
So like Brian Palermo is one of the guys who does that, and he's like the king of just building these characters on the spot. So I'd say like he's probably one of my influences as far as acting and improv goes. But definitely you pull from people you've listened to or people that you've read their work.
Sure.
And it's hard, like we talked about earlier, you don't see Bill Cosby do any of these bits.
Right.
And like you can go back on YouTube and find something old, but it's always really hard to see, or you can't hear what bit it is.
Right.
Just desperately trying to latch onto any piece of it is near impossible.
Yeah. But. Did you listen to anything much after this? Or, I mean, it sounds like you just had your dad's stuff and, weren't necessarily making a point to go out and find, like, comedy albums or anything.
I mean, unfortunately, there wasn't much for me to find in my hometown area.
Of course.
I mean, there wasn't a record store, there was a grocery store.
Yeah.
And then I was at my parents' disposal as to where I could, when I could go into town.
Sure.
Recently, definitely, I've picked up a lot more of his albums. I tend to enjoy the stuff that comes after Revenge just because it does deal with more of his childhood and more of his family life. And you get like Chocolate Cake, which is a great bit about
one of the best bits,
how his kids just betray him. I just love, so I thought, what was in it? Eggs. That's a breakfast food. Wheat. That's nutritious. And just him justifying, as you do when you're desperate and a parent, how to make your kids happy. And, Dad forced us to eat this. We wanted eggs.
Do you listen to other comics who are storytellers? I mean, is that what you prefer, do you think?
I do definitely prefer the storytellers to just bits. Like, I'll never turn down, like, listening to people who have that ability to tell joke after joke and make it work.
Sure.
Probably another comic that influenced me growing up was Red Green. And I mean, that's one of those things, like, again, I'm in the middle of nowhere, so we get PBS.
Yeah.
And you can see this crazy, character doing all these handyman things, which is great. And
I remember that shit fondly.
But, like, that was such a great example of character that I never even realized, probably growing up, that he shaped a lot of my views on how to fix things around the house and what was possible. But, oh, man. Yeah, he would tell stories about things at the lodge,
right?
Or all these different people in his life, and that's one of the things I really think I try and bring to my comedy is that world that everything takes place in.
Yeah.
And with Bill Cosby, you get Fat Albert, Weird Harold, all of his kids gang from Fat Albert gang, Mushroomhead, and but he's got that whole world of people that he pulls from. His kids later, and on the Cosby Show, all of his kids obviously reappear. And in Red Green, you had that whole crew from the lodge, and
sure,
I think that I've brought that into my comedy where callbacks are a huge part for me, and being able to make people feel like they know what's going to happen before it happens. Is great because everyone loves an inside joke and being part of it. And so I definitely try and do that, and that storytelling method comes out a lot more in my work because of that.
Are there common characters or threads that you bring up from your like it's not a usual life? It doesn't sound like a lot of comics here, like they came from the suburbs, they came from the city. Do you know like the stuff that you're pulling from consciously, like any like experiences or characters that you grew up around?
Oh man, like. I don't really have anyone specifically that I pull from because you end up forming these amalgams of people where I pulled this bit from my uncle and I pulled this bit from my sister or whatever, but I don't think I have anyone that's as much of a direct correlation from growing up. I definitely have different friends that I do that more directly with from college. Once I went to college in Seattle at University of Washington. Yeah. And that's kind of where I met, a more diverse crowd at least.
Sure.
Because growing up in a town of, 500, everyone's pretty much the same person.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you have to, exist as a whole since you're all trapped in the same spot. So you all learn to get along, and you have that face that you are when you're with everyone, and they all have the exact same face for you.
Right.
And so once I got to Seattle, it was like, wow, here are 8 billion types of people.
Yeah.
So I think it was at that point that I started really being like, oh, this is this sort of person. Oh, this is this sort of character. And realizing where I could use those in my comedy.
Now, when I was coming up, I was an only child for 7 years. I had that blessed moment for 7 years. Oh, it was really great, man. I ate regular, had a lot of clothes, 2 pairs of shoes, lots of corduroys, ties. Guys in my neighborhood, I was the only child in my neighborhood. Other guys were suffering. No food, no nothing. Guys just walking around with the air ups. That's when your stomach is empty. I never let them know I had a good meal. I'd walk out, I'd make some kind of sound. The guys were really hungry. Got to the point where they were chewing water. Oh, yeah. Then my mother comes up to me one day. I'm sitting around reading a comic book, cooling it. And she says, you're going to have a little brother or a sister. I said, why? You unsatisfied with my work? No, I'll make improvements for you. What are you bringing other people in the house for?
That's kind of a cool culture shock that I feel. I got the same thing when I moved from a town of like you, around the same time as you to Chicago, and you get this. So, I mean, for me especially, it was like a huge ethnic diversity I'd never seen before.
Oh, totally.
Only on TV had I seen a black person, pretty much. And there's no offense to the one black family that was in my town. I had not grown up.
We had one as well.
You know, that's it. And that's so weird to say now, knowing that I live in Los Angeles. But you sort of feel like, well, shit, I'm kind of culturally crippled. I have to catch up now. In a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we had the one black family in our town as well, and it was almost just not spoken of because they were just part of that town.
Sure.
And to see, like, you know, they too were all filling in that exact same face with everyone else. So it was really interesting, like you said, that culture shock of like, oh, you know, there are all these different cultures and this is how they typically interact with everyone. And getting to, like, really learn those and appreciate those as different characters. Like, it was great.
Yeah, and I mean also comedic perspectives, because you get to see people who didn't grow up with you, who are of a different ethnicity, came from a different part, or not just ethnicity, obviously, there's every different type of person possible, not just ethnicities, but, you know, that kind of, that really seems to, but at the same time, you've got somebody like Bill Cosby, who you sort of still feel like, and I know he probably grew up with a lot more diversity than we hear about in his work, but people clearly didn't think of him as a black comic.
Right. Well, Bill Cosby actually got a lot of flack for this, and, you know, being a comic in the late 60s, early 70s, and especially fairly young, he was in his early 30s when he recorded this. He got a lot of flack for not talking about race.
Right.
Because that was such a hot topic, and, like, why aren't you pushing this? And he's... I don't know if it was an interview or what, but I saw a nice quote on the internet, and I'm going to believe it's real. Where he said, like, you know, well, I tell this joke, and it makes me laugh, and there's a white guy in the audience, and it makes him laugh. And so we're both identifying with the same thing. We must be alike.
Right.
And, like, you know, well, I'm kind of doing my part for, you know, race relations just by, you know, finding similarities.
Of course, yeah.
And he always had to kind of defend his comedy, which I think is so interesting because, like I said earlier, it's all family family friendly, and, like, what could be controversial about you know, these kids playing in the street and like just growing up in America.
And the thing is, you only know that the character of Bill Cosby as a kid, when he's talking about it, is black because he's black. You're not hearing. I hear nothing in there that's foreign to me. You know, not that it should matter, but, you know, if you are like a scared white person who's never seen somebody who's black in real life, this is gonna still suck you in just as much as anything else. Which is like, that's beautiful art right there.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great, and I think that's something we all strive for as comedy people, is to suck everybody in with a perspective.
Find that full audience that can appreciate your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, I'm just curious then, has, I have to assume then your sensibility now as far as comedy has, you know, grown since you know, had these limited influences as a kid in you know, in a farm town. Do you know, can you peg, like, maybe when you started going to college, what the new influences were then?
Yeah, I mean, once I hit college, you know, I started looking more towards, you know, doing things that I enjoyed and actually fit me better than paleontology. You know, I started, you know, we had a great little indie movie theater on campus, and, well, just off campus, but technically, I think within the campus limits.
Oh, okay.
And so I started getting to see, you know, films from everywhere. So you started seeing, you know, I mean, sorry, this is going back again.
No, fine.
But, like, Leslie Nielsen, and any of those parody movies, you know, Airplane, Naked Gun, Police Squad, Hot Shots, those were all things that just killed me as a kid.
I bet.
And I think realizing that was something that was dying out a few years ago once maybe Scary Movie 2 happened.
Yep.
It was heartbreaking in recent years.
Yeah.
Because that's still, like, all of those on DVD exist in my collection, all of them on Blu-ray.
Of course.
You're not gaining anything. They were...
Yeah.
Those original film stocks don't exist. They're not getting improved.
No.
But, you know, everything that comes out in the future, I will own all of those again.
Of course.
But in college, you know, I started being exposed to a lot more, and not just through what I found myself, but through what other people were finding.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so odd because at that time it was like when American Pie was really big, and I was like, that's not really my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, finding, it wasn't about finding like controversial comedy or that shock comedy that was so big in the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
It was about finding like what actually like makes people laugh, and like comedy again as a way of connecting people, and like that acceptance of someone through comedy, or that making everything all right through comedy almost became part of what I appreciated.
Sure.
And so the people like Bill Cosby and the people like I'm blanking on names, like Steve Martin was very abstract, but he still would pull in people through that because it was more, or my entire audience doesn't get this.
Yeah.
And so you still are enjoying as much with the person next to you, like, this guy's crazy.
Right.
And so, building through those is, where I probably started finding my voice as a comedian.
Yeah. I'm actually curious because, like, you're one of people who's, around my age, you're a bit younger than me, but who actually still kind of collects vinyl. And I try to make it clear that it's not a fetishistic thing where I have to have vinyl or that I give a shit about the sound, but I'm curious why you still buy vinyl.
I still buy vinyl just probably because that's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And, like, I can remember my first cassette is B-52s, and I got it in a little parade that we had in our town, and a local radio station was throwing them from a car.
Awesome.
But I don't collect cassettes, but, growing up and just that nostalgia for the time, I guess, of listening to my dad's records, I just continued to collect them. And, like, one of the ones that, it's not a comedy album, but one of the vinyls that, like, I needed, and my girlfriend bought me for Christmas last year, which was huge, was Buckingham Nicks, which I just needed for some odd reason, because it was one of my dad's favorite records, and he had lent it to someone when he was in college or just out of college, and they had left it on the back of their car, like in the back window, and it just warped, and he had never been able to find it since, because we were in that farming area.
Yeah.
The internet wasn't around to get it. And so, like, I always had this thing, like, growing up, where it's like, I need that record because my dad needed that record.
That's awesome.
And so, I think vinyl for me is, like, one of those things, like, my dad wears Old Spice, and his dad wore Old Spice, so I wear Old Spice, and we all drink Coke. And, like,
that's so good.
And I don't know why, but that's just part of what I've always identified as being what you do, is the sort of person that you want to be.
Yeah.
And I very much look up to, like, my dad and my grandpa, and so I think it just kind of imprinted on me that that's what you do.
Did you, now I'm a little more curious too, because you bring up your grandpa again, as far as, was obviously a storyteller, funny guy too? Like, just
very funny, and I don't think it was always a choice, but I think that he does it. He's one of those guys who, when you talk to him, and it's your birthday, it'll be Bappy Birthday, and it's just hilarious to him, and you don't know why.
Right.
And you just get that point where he's realized in recent years that he tells the same stories. So a lot of the times the family will sit down and he'll say, there I was, 20,000 feet over, whatever bridge he was flying over in a bomber in World War II, and everyone just knows that it's his way of joking now.
Yeah, okay.
Or, anytime he saw my dad, it was, "You never hunted behind Old Red, did you?" It was, and just this bit about how my dad never hunted with one of my grandpa's hunting dogs.
That's funny.
And, and that's where his humor has turned to, and it's great.
Yeah. It's one of and that's kind of an interesting thing about, if you skip a couple generations back, sometimes just one generation back, the story, I won't say that it's all gone out of our culture, obviously, but the storytelling obviously changes with each generation, but it's a richer storytelling, I think, if you
Definitely. Because, there's something to be said about a storyteller like Bill Cosby, and, begrudgingly saying a storyteller like Dane Cook.
Yeah, right.
And the fact that that's where storytelling is now is a little frustrating, because don't have it's not one of those stories that you want to hear again.
Right.
It's a story that an asshole tells you at a bar. where you're like, I don't care about this. Like, where are my friends?
Right.
Someone save me.
Oh, God. That might be the perfect condensing of why. Oh, God, that's amazing. That's so true.
When you're a kid, see, monsters live in your bedroom closet. I had 6 monsters lived in my bedroom closet, and thank goodness for covers, or else I would never have been alive today. Covers saved my life. My mother saved me a couple of times. She played the game, like, Mom, monsters after me, with the lights out. She come in, get out of here, and they go in the closet. My father didn't like the game at all, I said, Dad, monsters! Let them eat you up. So then I had to go to the covers, Jack, when they come at me. Oh, right under, pull them covers over my head. Stay under there all night long. Because she says, monsters wait for you to come out, see? Then they start walking around the bed, They can't touch covers. Something magical about covers. They can't touch it. But they know, they say, you gotta breathe sometime, kid. But I was the fastest breather on earth, man. I'd take them covers, lift them up, just a little crack, then cover them right back up again, Jack.
Do you find yourself having to, try to be a storyteller, though? Or do you have that... I mean, obviously, you're comfortable here, or at least I hope you're comfortable here. Is it a thing that comes natural to you, or do you try hard to keep that in you?
It's a trait that sometimes I wish I didn't have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because through comedy and improv, you always learn to listen better and pay more attention, and it's something that I'm very conscious of as a person, that I need to listen more to people.
Sure.
But there's that storytelling part of me that I've gone through my family, where when someone says something and it reminds me of a story, I will wait for the smallest breath possible to be had by the person talking, and it will be my turn to tell that story.
Yeah.
And I won't recall a single thing that they've said since I have that thought of oh, I know a great story. Here's this. Oh, you said beach? Oh, well, this one time my roommate and I were at a bar, and we convinced someone that he was a lifeguard and saved a kid from a shark. And I'll go into a 15-minute story, and if they interrupt me in a similar fashion, I will cut right back in with that story, or whatever story their story reminds me of.
Right.
And sometimes it's really not funny.
Right.
But, I'm definitely a storyteller in my life.
Yeah.
As much as I may not want to be.
Do you now? I just wonder too if I'm sure I know that comes with age, because I know there's a desire to want people to still listen to you as you get older. You can tell that. You can see that in some people. But you do wonder if there's also the desire to keep a chunk of you alive through your stories, in this sort of oral tradition that used to exist.
Yeah.
And do you ever think about what stories of yours you hope will live on more than the other ones? Do you ever have a thought about that?
I hope none of my stories live on. That's not what I want to be remembered by.
Just your work.
That one time I ran through an airport. The story to be remembered by.
That's right.
But no, I think that there's definitely that hope that something that you do or say is taken on, but I would much rather have it be a fictional work of mine than something I've lived, at least to this point.
Right.
I mean, I've told billions of stories of, my time I got chased by a grizzly bear, or the time that, whatever, I went down rapids on a canoe.
Right.
Or fished for an hour, but those are not good stories. Those are not.
Those first two sound really good. I will say that. Maybe that's all you need to say, though. I don't know.
I need to live a more exciting life, is what I've decided, or make up fictional children that I have.
Right. There you go. Do you? I hate asking this question because I know people are getting annoyed with it, or I'm just second guessing myself. Do you miss because I know it's rare. This is a new album that's on vinyl, but it doesn't happen so often anymore. Do you miss it all, or are you fine with just getting digital stuff?
There's something to be said about having it on vinyl, and there's something to be said about having it on digital. I just bought an album yesterday on vinyl because Andrew WK, a guilty pleasure of mine, re-released his I Get Wet album as a deluxe copy. And it's wow, how great to have this on vinyl. And I think for me, something that's very near and dear about vinyl is the fact that it ends.
Yeah.
And you have to go over and flip over the album, and there's that physical contact of you and the music, and that's really, like, oh, Matt's talking about music. Oh, it's. I'm not trying to be, I don't even know, like a collector or any sort of like hoity-toity, I love vinyl sort of thing, but there's something to be said about having that connection with the music.
Yeah.
And, you play the record, and there's that sound right before it starts, and just like, and that's such a great noise, because something's about to happen. Mm-hmm. But, having it digital, you can take it with you anywhere, you can listen to it at any time. So I think I end up getting a lot of stuff digitally and on vinyl if possible, because when I'm at home working, I like having, half an hour's passed because this record has ended. Where if I just have Pandora on or whatever, I have no idea how long I've been there. I'm not really in charge. And also there's something just to be said about listening to an entire album. Like, you're not just listening to your singles, you're not just listening to whatever you really want, you're hearing it kind of as the artist intended it in a way. Right. To think that someone could listen to 9th Street Bridge and then listen to Buck Buck, but never hear, possibly not hear both of them, you're missing a huge chunk of the joke. Sure. And that's one of the great parts of this album, Revenge, is that you get that 2-part story, which is pretty much 3 stories. Yeah. And they all intertwine and mix in, and you're just loving it because they're all there. Right. But, it's very easy to go, oh, I want to see where Fat Albert came in, I'm going to buy Buck Buck. And you miss half of the joke about when he's in the hospital next to a wino who's been run over by 2 kids. Right. But,
speaking of callbacks, it's so incredibly rich, and I'm lucky you picked this one. If you were going to tell somebody who's never heard this album before, and I realize that's kind of the point of this whole show, but I like to condense it. Somebody who's never heard the album before, maybe doesn't know Bill Cosby that well, maybe he's not a big comedy fan yet. Why would you say, sit down and listen to this one deliberately?
Oh, man. I wasn't ready for that question.
I know. Nobody...
I would be very selfish and say, it's my favorite record. I can listen to it because it's this, and I'm important, so listen to my record of choice. But in fairness, it's just great storytelling. It is in a way like listening to a friend or a family member tell you stories about their past. Sure. It is, getting to spend that time, that conversation with Bill Cosby, You're listening to him, and he's talking to you, he's not just, it's great because it's recorded at, live in front of an audience, so you get that laughter from everyone else, so you know when to laugh, but it feels very personal. And I think that's what I try and sell them on first, is it's a very personal telling of these stories that are very just there for you. They tell you stories about what you remember being a kid. Yeah. And bring you back to that. And even when he says in Revenge, he gets very mad. He's like, so I swore at him, Junior Barnes, you junkie. And you just feel like everyone in the audience and yourself go yep, that's what we called people as a kid. You didn't know what swear words were. Right. You had no idea. And that happened to me as a kid. I remember my mom tells a story, so it must be true, of me coming home and I'm like, I know what the middle finger means. And being so I don't want to be in trouble, but I have to tell you because Bill told me what it meant, and you better call Bill's mom. And my mom very coolly was, oh, what does it mean? It's the F word. And my mom getting more concerned at this point because I was 6. What's the F word? Fardo. And me just it's exactly like Bill Cosby. When you're a kid, you're like, this is the adult word, and you're so serious, just farto. And knowing that oh, my parents are going to be pissed when I say this. Right. But Bill told me. Yeah, Bill told me, so he better get in trouble, not me. Right. But this is my chance to say it out loud and be an adult. Oh, shit. And, just imagining now being an adult and knowing what my mom must have gone through and the amount of time that she laughed probably while I was right there.
Mm-hmm. Holy yeah, you can't bite your lip for that. How do you?
I don't know. I know if I had a kid and they told me that, I would never let them live that down.
No. That's amazing.
I'd probably ground them for saying fardo and
right.
let them continue to believe until adulthood that that's the worst swear word that they could say.
Meet somebody who accidentally says it in public and just slaps them across the face. You do not say that word. Oh my God. It's so good. That's as good a reason as any. What do you have to plug? Twitter, Facebook?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @MattIsGrounded.
Mm-hmm.
For saying fardo.
For saying fardo, right.
Or you can follow my podcast at critjuice.com or my CritJuice Twitter at CritJuice.
All right.
I don't really have any other ways of distributing myself.
All right.
I try to tweet. Some people think it's funny. A lot of Beliebers and a lot of One Direction fans follow me, so
shit.
you should too.
Well, is it they want somebody who can actually grow facial hair? Is that what it is?
I don't know. Like, I tweeted something, and a friend of mine tweeted it, and then someone from Glee retweeted that.
Oh, shit.
So a lot of those kids followed me.
Holy shit. That's pretty great.
That's how I got 90% of my followers.
What did you tweet that got that big of a response?
I tweeted something along these lines, and I'm horrible at restating what I've said.
It's okay.
Whenever people in a movie all jump in a pool, I always think, oh no, my cell phone. Because it's true. Like, cell phones cost so much money, and everyone makes it look like this spontaneous, fun thing to jump in a pool. But you can't do that after like 97 because you're ruining a very valuable piece of equipment.
God. It's a simple modern truth and very beautiful. I like it. Okay, so follow you on Twitter. Do you and listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast, please. If you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, you like hearing people get drunk, you want to hear some amazing up and coming talent, listen to Crit Juice at critjuice.com.
How long is the average episode again?
About 40 minutes, so it's perfect commute length for Los Angeles.
Right, yeah, that's pretty good.
That's what we aim for.
That's smart. Yeah. That's awesome. And can I assume then it's I know that's how D&D works, but I mean, are you pretty clearly picking up where you left off, or is it...
you can follow it straight through. You can listen to one episode if you want and be a little in over your head, but you'll pick it up pretty fast. We tend to recap every arc, so...
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. We've got a great voice actor do the beginning of each one.
That's good.
And so you'll catch up as you go, but it's you don't have to know D&D to enjoy it because it's a bunch of comedians who are drunk playing Dungeons and Dragons. So you can listen to it just based on its comedy merit.
That's good. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
It was a lot of fun. And again, everybody follow him, listen to his podcast, and also at some point soon I should have something up online of my documentary that you were in, which is How I Met You.
Yeah, forever ago.
5 years ago, about freestyle walking. It's called Lords of Soaptown. Yes, it's a dumb title. It's intentional. So hopefully someone will be up about that soon. But again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Matt, for coming here.
Thank you.
As always, everybody, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klamm. Visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, rate us highly, and write your reviews. You can follow us on Facebook.com/ComedyOnVinyl and Twitter @ComedyOnVinyl.
She painted on the spot. She found a pair of overalls at the bottom of the pot. Him Nolan, he got ripping mad. His eyes were bulging out. He jumped upon the piano and loudly he did shout. Who threw the overalls in Mrs. Murphy's chowder? Nobody spoke, so he shouted out.